Welcome back to another episode of the Rahway JAG one-on-one podcast series. I'm your host, Nicholas Iwarmi.
Yeah, how'd you know best?
In each episode, we sit down with inspiring guests to share their experiences and journeys to success. Today, we have with us Liza Giuliano. Liza, can you tell us a bit about yourself and what you do?
Yeah, sure. I am currently a program manager for Bank of America. And in my position, I work closely with community college students to help prepare them for the workforce. And I do that by offering workshops and education about resume writing, interview tips, talk about LinkedIn and the importance of social media. And I am now looking to also work with high school students. So today I had my first opportunity to work with the JAG program, thanks to Mr. Bunyan. So it's exciting stuff for me.
What inspired you to pursue a career in what you do?
So I have to be honest, it kind of happened by accident. I went to school and got a degree in criminal justice. I had aspirations of being a homicide detective, and then once I got in the field and I was pursuing it, I kind of took a step back and was like, yeah, maybe this is not the line of business that I want to go into, or the field, I should say. So through networking, I heard about an opportunity, an entry-level position at Bank of America, and I kind of just took the leap. And worked my way up in the company. I've been with Bank of America now, it's almost 19 years. So I've been able to do a couple of different things. Initially, I was a recruiting coordinator, which is somebody who just supports recruiters in the hiring process. And then I was promoted like 5 years ago, almost 6 years ago, to a recruiter position. And then most recently in July, I took on this position as a program manager.
So during these 19 years, what are some few challenges and setbacks you faced?
Okay, so I would have to say my number one challenge is not studying the field that I was in. So with a criminal justice degree, it was completely different than anything that I'm doing in human resources right now. So that would be my number one challenge. And then my second challenge, I would say, is communication. Probably wasn't my strongest. So that's something that I've been working to develop in the last 19 years, just being involved and kind of putting myself out there and challenging myself to just be a better communicator.
Today you had the chance to speak with us, and I feel like you spoke well and you spoke good.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate that.
Spoken.
I just want to ask, how did you overcome being nervous and being able to speak publicly?
Yeah, I fake it till I make it. I mean, literally, I'm always nervous. I was nervous before coming here. Even though we're just having a conversation and talking like regular people, I was like, well, I hope what I'm saying is inspiring and that I don't bore too many people. But I'm always nervous, and I kind of have to give myself a pep talk before I come and do anything that, requires me to do public speaking.
How important is networking in the field that you do?
Number one. That's how I found this position. How I got into Bank of America was basically even talking to my neighbors. I wasn't friends with my neighbor. I just, in communication and talking and walking my dog, I was like, hey, how are you? How's the weather? What do you do for a living? That kind of thing. So networking, I mentioned it a bunch of times today when I was talking to the class. Networking is really important, and I know it's kind of difficult to get in and feel comfortable sometimes doing that, but you have to put yourself out there.
For sure. What has been your proudest achievement?
All right, so besides professionally, I would have to say when I got promoted to a recruiter. So I was in a position where I was supporting that recruiter position, and I really wanted it badly. But it took me a long time to apply because I wasn't that sure of my capabilities. Could I do it? But once I put myself out there, I found that it was the best decision that I had made for myself.
What are some ways students can build connections?
LinkedIn, for sure. And don't be afraid to, that's probably an easy one, right? Because you're on a platform, a social media platform. These people don't know who you are, but you can, prepare a conversation with them. You could think about what you're going to say before you message them, things of that nature. And then, use your teachers, use your community, use the people you go to church with, your neighbors. Like, don't be afraid. If there's something that you are interested in, certainly do get out there and start talking to people, start, making those connections now. Like, 6 degrees of separation is real. Somebody's going to know somebody that is going to be able to help you get where you want to go.
Prior to what you said today, like with the LinkedIn and stuff, do you feel as though like networking and like putting yourself out there is a big goal, like is a big step to success, or like should you like test the waters out before you like I'm trying okay, so my question is networking the most important step, or should you like test the waters out to like find out yourself, if that makes sense?
You can try and do things for yourself or by yourself if you like, but it definitely helps to have somebody there supporting you or helping you make those connections with other people.
Were you ever nervous, like trying to network, like to get turned
Yes.
down?
Part of the position that I'm in right now is like putting myself in front of people that I've never met before.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I still get nervous talking to people. They used to make us prepare an elevator speech, which means elevator as in, if you were to get on the elevator with an executive from our company, like how would you introduce yourself? And so like I would write down what I thought and then practice in the mirror and stuff so that I knew that not only did I not sound like an idiot, but I didn't look like one either. So I still get nervous.
For students who are interested in your like working field and stuff, what advice do you have? What advice do you have for them?
First and foremost, I would recommend going to school for HR, human resources, business, something in that field. It's a little bit easier when you have that educational background to get into it. And then I would say don't be afraid to take an entry-level position. Sometimes you have to start from the bottom to get where you want to go eventually. So, and don't be afraid to learn new things. Like, I've been in my career now for almost 20 years, and I'm still learning. When I took this position, I had a 90-page booklet, basically, of information that I needed to learn and stuff. So don't be afraid to continue your education. It goes beyond just college and, going to get your master's or whatever you guys decide to do. It goes far beyond that. You're going to always constantly need to evolve and grow, and that means learn new stuff.
Touching on the college aspect, how was the college life for you?
Fun, maybe not as fun as it would be for somebody who lived on campus. So I was a teen mom. I had my daughter my senior year of high school. So I went to Kean University. I drove there every day. I struggled a little bit because I had a lot going on at home. And maybe I didn't take school as seriously as I should have. So that's another, big tip I could give you is take school seriously so that you're not wasting your money or your time. But once I got my head on straight, maybe by sophomore year, from there, once I started taking school seriously, then it was much better. But it was fun because, in between classes, you get to meet people that are in your classes and stuff like that. So although I didn't get to live there because I had responsibilities at home, it was a good time.
Was it tough, like having a kid and have to
Yes.
be in college too?
Well, yeah, because you're juggling a lot of things. I also worked, part-time, full-time-ish. So, yeah, there was a lot going on, a lot to juggle.
What role has mentorship played in your career?
It was essential. You need that person to really help you develop professionally, individually. So I still have mentors that I work with every day, and I talk to them monthly. And then I have mentors that, although I don't speak to them on a regular basis, they really helped shape me into the professional that I am today. So, I mean, I would say if somebody was willing to mentor you, jump on that for sure.
How did the challenge of raising like you said you were a teen mom? How did that challenge like help you become the person you are today?
So I think she helped ground me as an adult. I really worried about her being able to look up to me, which was something that really pushed me to be a better person and to be more responsible. Whereas before I had her, it was a little wild. When I say wild, I just, out there to have a good time, And once I had her, I was like, okay, well, this little human is looking at me. She's going to be, I have to be a good example for her. So she definitely helped, calm me down a little bit.
Uh, like after you had your child, did you feel like you had to mature faster, and how did you manage your time after?
Yeah, for sure. I managed my time by making a lot of mistakes, I have to say. Like, it wasn't something that just happened overnight. It's not like I had her and then, you know, automatically was this adult. With a lot of learning and making mistakes and, trying to or having to listen to the adults in my life. So, yeah, again, I made a lot of mistakes, but, she definitely pushed me to grow up.
Did any of those mistakes like teach you a lesson, like a valuable life lesson?
Yes, and I'm still learning lessons today. I'm in my 40s right now, and I'm telling you that's not something that ends when you become an adult. You will continue to learn lessons. Sometimes they're easier than they used to be when you're in your 20s or even in your teenage years. You make mistakes. I don't think you really think about what the consequences are. Really, when you're adult, you do think about the consequences because they're bigger than they are usually when you're a teenager. But yeah, it taught me to grow up, to learn from my mistakes, to be a better human, all that good stuff.
For sure.
The final question for you today is: as a businesswoman, what were some challenges you faced, and what's a piece of advice you have for the young ladies that want to follow the path of being a businesswoman?
Sure. I think my biggest challenge was really believing in myself. So having that belief that I could do it, so I think I was just a little insecure about myself. You always have these doubts that maybe you're not good enough. And what I would tell young women or men as they're coming up in their professional careers is that you can do it. And maybe it won't come as easy. You can do anything you want. It might not come as easy as something that you're good at, but you can do it as long as you concentrate, you put in the effort, you take the time, you reach out to folks to help you. Don't ever be afraid to ask for help. So all of those things really helped get me to where I am today. Like I was, I did it even though I was scared and uncomfortable and not sure. But I always step to the challenge. Again, fake it till you make it. Even if you're not sure about yourself, put yourself out there, make it known what it is that you want, and go for it.
Were you ever at a point where you was confused what you was gonna do?
Yes. So, I mean, going back to me going to school to be, a homicide detective.
Yeah.
That's what when I was young-minded, and that's what I call you when you're, young and still trying to figure it out. I just, I thought that's what I wanted to do. And I don't even know if I necessarily was very passionate about that work. It was just, that's the field that I was in, and that's what I thought, I could do. And then, when I really thought about it, I was like, yeah, that's just, not for me. So it can be confusing, right? What I tell my own kids as they're trying to figure themselves out and what they want to do is that if you're not sure, you can go to school for something more broad and then figure it out later. Experience really does play a huge part of growing your career. So although you can go to school for business and then decide that you want to do something you want to be a teacher or whatever the case may be, you can shift as you grow. The same stuff that you like when you're 20 might not be the same things that you like as you're 30 and 40. And it's never too late to learn something new either. So go for it. Do, something in school, or if you don't decide to go to school and you go get a trade, that's okay too. Do that. And then if you decide to go to school later in life, you can do that. Like, you can shift, you can pivot the direction that you're going into. It's never too late.
Thank you.
Final question, what's a piece of advice that you have for the listeners that are scared to make the first step?
Yeah, just do it. Just go for it. Like, don't be afraid. It's okay. Nobody's going to laugh at you. It's just a part of life. Everybody is walking around doing things that are uncomfortable and take them out of their comfort zone. But I would say do it anyway.
Okay.
Thank you. That's all for today. That concludes episode 3 of Rahway JAG 101 podcast.